Okay, so for this, we're going to go ahead and we're going to walk you through how to diagnose and repair a HP 3520 computer. This goes pretty standard for any other laptops. I mean, they're pretty much all the same. There's small differences, so be careful when you do this. You're going to start off, and there's going to be a bunch of screws on the back. So all these ones that you see that are deep, they're deep screws down in there. So go through and unscrew all those. Make sure you get all of them all the way around the edge of the computer. And then go ahead and take off these plates also that go throughout it. I start first by taking out the battery. Even before I take out any screws, that's just what I do. So just for safety issues, unplug it, take out the battery, then start unscrewing all the deep hole screws, and then all those silver screws also. You're going to need to pry a little up on those silver screws to get these panels off. See, right here I have these panels off. So for that battery, there's a little latch right here in the right hand corner. You slide it and the battery will pop out. So then you just unscrew those panels and kind of pry a little bit. If you try to take off those panels before the battery, you'll break them. So take out the battery first. Okay, so here the panels are off. The battery's up at the top. Right below it, on the right-hand side, is a Wi-Fi adapter. So if your Wi-Fi isn't working, those connections might just be loose. You push those back in. If you need to add memory, it's on the left-hand side right here, and then at the bottom is your hard drive if you need to replace a hard drive. So now we're going to go ahead and dive into the computer. So first thing we need to do is open it up and check to see if there's a broken screen or if we're having any other issues, broken keys. As you can see here on the right hand side at the top, I have a broken key. It's just a little white dot, but you'll see here in a second. Okay, so you can see it now. There's a broken key, so you're going to want to take a screwdriver, and after removing all those screws on the back, and I do mean all of them, then you can use a screwdriver and pry up on the keyboard. This is different from other laptops because usually you pull off this plate at the very top where your speaker comes in. So pry up on that. Be careful. There's little connections. As you can see, I undid these connections. These that you see down here right now, the little ribbons, they're attached to the mouse and the clicking. I don't know what you would call it. Okay. So, but make sure you hit this big one right here and make sure you you flip it up. They flip up to detach. So make sure you flip up to detach it so that you can pull out the keyboard without damaging it. Do not just pull on these, they will break. And then it's a pain to find other ones, especially because computer manufacturers take them all. So you'll end up paying a lot. So then go ahead and unclip these, and you'll just flip up on that little plastic clip, and then they should slide out really easy. If they're not sliding out easy, you didn't do it right. So just be aware of that. Don't try to force it. Don't try to make it, yours. Right there you can see I have the keyboard out, and there's that long ribbon cable that I disconnected at first. So there's that. That's pretty easy. Make sure that the tabs on it that are gold need to face down towards the computer when you put it back together. Then you're going to want to pry up on either side. It doesn't really matter. I just pried up on the right hand side, but it doesn't really matter. So just pry up on the side and it should all pop off. There's little fasteners that'll just pry up and around it, whatever. But don't try to force anything. Okay, so if you're replacing your CD/DVD drive, which most of you probably are, your problem's going to be right there. So you just go ahead and pull it out. As long as you've removed the retaining screw underneath, along with all the rest of the screws underneath, it should just slide out. No problems, easy. So that's that. And then you grab the new one, push it back in. You don't have any problems. At this point, I think it's a really good idea to inspect the board just to look to see if you see any burned runs, or if you see any burned parts of the board, or burned parts in general, any failed parts that you can see physically. Okay, so if your problem is actually what this one was, which is that the CD/DVD drive wouldn't open, but it would still work. So if you used a paperclip trick and pushed it through, and it slid to the side, and you pulled it open, put CD in, put it in, it worked fine. It didn't have any problems whatsoever, but it wouldn't eject on its own. So what I did was I went ahead and used that trick to open this, or open that, and then this is the back of the CD DVD drive, and there is, I believe, 5 screws, I don't know. Just remove all the screws, but do it on a level surface to make sure that none of that falls out. So that's your laser and a bunch of gears and springs. That is actually what force it to pop out. So you got to be really careful about that. Other than that, there's not much to the CD DVD drives. That's what I was talking about, the springs and the gears. In this one, it was actually the bottom. What was it? Okay, yeah, I would say the very smallest spring. It's underneath this gold ribbon cable right here. But there's a small spring there that you would see if you were doing this yourself, and that right there, that's actually what it had been pulled so many times that it just went bad. So then it was just a bad ribbon cable, and it didn't know what to do. Or I mean, a bad spring, and it didn't know what to do. So I went to Ace Hardware, picked up a new spring, threw it in. Works fine now. Assembly is just reverse of taking it apart.